Hello race fans, Racing 393. It's been one of those kind of the greatest of plans, never really go how you want them to. So my last capture, which I've just put online, was the Formula V in R Factor 2. So it's supposed to be a very quick 15-minute race around Silverstone. It turned out to be an hour and over a 2-week period. And although my motto is keep it real, I decided to restart the racing when I say if, but when I crashed or spun, because it was so damn difficult to keep those cars on track, even though the blog update said the cars are far more forgiving. I think it was a little bit more perhaps my style, I must admit, but I decided to keep going, so we ended up with an hour-long episode rather than sort of like 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do is, again, it's a different game, sort of rolling back time a little bit. I used to play this game non-stop on the Xbox. I don't think the only reason I stopped was because I got kind of into the PC sim racing a little bit more regularly. And I heard loads of stuff about this game on PC, of how good it was in VR and generally how much better it is over the console. I tried it, so I had to buy it. I hadn't bought it, so it was a late purchase for the PC for me. And I tried it. My initial thoughts were, yes, it is better in the console. Up until this point, I had already got on the system through Steam Project Cars, the original, and I had been playing around with that. On the console, in my opinion, Project Cars 2 is better once you've picked the correct car track combination. There are a few red herrings in Project Cars 2, the cars you want to avoid driving. That is until now. As we know on the PC, you can adjust the INI file, and when you install this game, under the folder My Documents, you get a Project Cars 2 folder, and in there is a forced feedback text file. I had a quick look at it. Yeah, it's got loads of, dots and dashes, numbers that you can adjust if you know what you're doing. Some are quite self-explanatory, others not so. It is a relatively simple case of changing a 1 to a 2, or a 0 to a 1, etc. But for the good of sim racing, there's people out there that are far more aware of how to do this than what I'll ever be. So there's some files which you can download. It's through Race Department. And it's just a text file of the forced feedback. You back the original file up in case you don't like this one. So I just sort of copied and pasted it onto my desktop. And you just place one of these. There's like three different types, 3 different files. They're named different. I don't know if you have to do this, but I did. I think one was called, I can't remember now. What beginner or real, pure. So it had some different settings, a bit like this game does when it has raw, immersive, and something else which eludes me at the moment. But on the PC, which you don't get on the console, you've got a tab on there on the force feedback flavor called custom. So that's where this INI or this edited file comes into it. So you select that on the game settings and put this file into my documents and Project Cars 2. So the game actually reads that one. I mean, there's some things that make me think, oh, that was shit. Why did I bother? And there's other things that make me think, yeah, that's better. And you hear quite a lot. You think, is it better? Is it just because I'm expecting it to be better, so I've got to believe it's better, when in fact it might not be? This has completely changed the game. Totally and utterly changed the game. I will put in the links on this video once I've uploaded it, where this file is. It's incredible. I mean, even though I can remember driving some of these cars, not the ones you see on screen at the moment, but other cars, thinking to myself on the original, and I'm thinking back to the Xbox, I'm pretty sure that this shouldn't drive like this, for whatever reason. I tried the same car on the PC before I did the INI file stroke text file edit. It was similar, but I still think it's better on the PC in its vanilla format. And now I've put this on. I've only tried one of the three. In fact, there's 5 files on the download, and there's 3 like standard ones, and then there's 2 in a folder. One is called, I can't remember, novice or beginner, and then the one under that, which I haven't tried, is called wrist breaker. So it must have the force feedback set really high. I mean, maybe I will do a video on that, or at least I'll try it and give you my thoughts. But for me, I'm guessing there must be one for the original Project Cars, I would think. It's a game changer. So that's what I thought I'd do today. So what we've got is, I've looked at what's on this weekend coming up, and I wish I'd known about this like beforehand. And BrandsHatch have got what they call a Masters Historic Festival. And basically they've got Formula 2, they've got Masters Historic F1, sports cars and touring cars. And it's it's the home of what, where they, in my opinion, where they should have the British Grand Prix at BrandsHatch on May the 25th and 6th. So, I suppose I could go on Sunday. And just going down sort of the events list, they've got the FIA Masters Historic Formula 1 Championship. And what that has is, what I've done here, I've got like mixed class, multi-class, and they race the cars in one grid that race between the 60s, 70s and 80s, and it's from the the top teams and some of the current teams of years gone by. Cars are from Williams, McLaren, Tyrrell, Lotus and Arrows, and there's plenty more there. So these are, I think, these are sort of people that have in a position where they can buy an old Formula 1 car, and it's more for I guess demonstration races, but there's an actual championship, so the racing is quite fraught. I don't, what I've got here is historic cars from various different eras, but they're all pretty much similar. They're going to be some quicker than others. I'm not so sure whether you'd put a 70s car out with a 80s. I don't know if they'll do that. I would have thought they would have kept them separately on the track. Just to sort of say a few other things, they do the Masters Historic Sports Cars. So this is the endurance racing. Looking down there, the typical GT40s, all in the Le Mans type liveries. So it's from that era. We're talking from the golden era of probably, again, 60s, 70s and 80s, I would think, on that. It doesn't actually say the years. And then it's also what they call here, which is interesting, just to sort of, this is nothing to do with project cars, but pre-66 touring cars and the historic Formula 2. So I think it'd be a damn good meeting to go to, actually, I would think, across 2 days. And I'm just trying to look whether they do it on the Indy circuit, or it must be the full circuit, I would think. I'm just, as we read, well, as I talk to you, I've gone into the actual website. I would think it would be the full circuit, because otherwise there'd be too many cars out there for the Indy circuit. It doesn't actually say, well, it probably does. I'm not going to read it all now, but yeah. So what I've done today is, like my my update at the beginning of sort of last month, is I'm trying to sort of replicate something that's coming up that isn't mainstream. So I'll pick something and the sim that would cover it to sort of replicate an upcoming event. And here we are at BrandsHatch in the historic Formula 1 class. So what I'm going to do, although I am recording the whole thing, I am going to do a bit of practice and hopefully finish a 16 lap race. I might change that, actually. That might be a little bit ambitious. So if we go for the sake of the stream, we'll do 10 laps. Yeah. So I will do a little bit of practice and see you back on the grid very soon. So sim fans, we've done our qualifying at BrandsHatch. I'm just going to show you a little clip of towards the end of my qualifying. So I've got it in slow motion. So it sort of highlights the issues you get with multi-class racing. So you've got different sort of specs of cars there. The two in front there are sort of from the 80s. That one there might be from the sort of the late 80s. You've got my car from the 70s. And then you've got a Lotus, I don't know what that is, 76. I'm trying to think now. No, maybe probably more likely to be late 80s. So it's sort of the downforce effect cars, so they are a lot quicker than what I am. So you've got to be wary of cars behind. But if you look here, it's an AI thing, I suppose. He decides to take some weird line across the curb, but it doesn't work. Absolutely obliterates my car. Although nothing fell off it, I have to say. A bit of a do-or-die manoeuvre. And as the camera pans round, the car that was behind us two, a 65 F1 car, hits the back of that one. So look at the top corner there, you can see a wheel running across the track, and then the damaged cars. So we're kind of, I'm gonna put return to pits and skip to end. So here we are, here's the grid. We've got a 10-lap race, just going through some of the cars here. We've got some of the more modern, or say early 90s. Into sort of my era here where I'm racing. Sort of early 70s. I say early 70s, and it's probably about, yeah, 72, 74-ish. And then behind me you've got like the other cars as well. So we've got a bit of a mixed bag out there. I did a 127 in practice, which put me sort of at the front of my group. I got a 1 grid place penalty as well by the looks of it, which I've only just noticed that, literally. Fairly competitive times. So anyway, we're going to try this 10 laps around the BrandsHatch GP circuit to replicate what's going on this weekend at BrandsHatch with the historic Masters event. So they have like a mixed field of F1 cars. I said I'm not sure whether they'll have the 60s cars out there with the 90s cars or late 80s or mid 80s. Because the speed difference would be immense, so I don't know whether they'll actually run these like that. I've done that just to sort of make a grid up, to be honest. So let's give it a go. It's a bit of a continue.
10 laps, E4.
I don't need to do any pit strategy. So we can start.
Okay, Dean, get ready. Go.
It's going to be very hairy. First corner. So it's a bit slower.
Good start, keep it up.
Wasn't bad. Some of those faster cars will probably want to come through.
The gap to the nice behind is now 0.9.
They did him. I'll turn the aggression down a little bit. it's definitely a handful, these cars. Especially when
ahead is now 0.4.
you try and change gear as well. The H pattern. Just trying to settle in. Who that is in front. Looks like an older F1 car than what I would be in my era. That shouldn't be as fast as me, should it really? Away from the curve this time. There's my gear then.
Well done, Dean. Good pass. Nice front.
We can make some headrows, but the full speed back, I'm hanging on for grim death here.
Don't let this guy distract you.
The gear changes need to be a little bit more synced, I think.
E2, sectors 1, 2R, 1.4 off the base. Sector 3 is 0.8 off the base.
So we're getting a bit of a rhythm, a little bit. So much better than the current Formula 1 cars. Any of these, to be honest. Proper sounding, proper driving. So many winglets on them. Aerodynamic aids. Well, all these have got is 4 fat tyres. And a flipping huge engine in the back. It's the gear then. Really. I'm not saying H pattern needs to come back in.
Gap to Ray behind is increasing. It's now 3.5 seconds.
But something needs to be done. And it's got to do with downforce. When you watch the cars of this era, you know, the racing. I've got the videos. There's Duke Video do, you know, they've reproduced the years, 70s, 80s, 90s and 2000s. He is fast. Lapped already. Yeah, so Duke Video reproduced a lot of the videos of the Formula 1 years.
Okay, Dean, halfway home, we've got plenty of fuel.
And the racing, I wouldn't say is like much better, but it was racing. I use my mirrors. It's so difficult to talk. You got this engine in your ear hole. You know what? Yeah, so the racing of this era. Say was like made out to be super spectacular, but the drivers had to work to get their wins. Because there's a lot of uncompetitive teams back then, even privateers, but what that didn't entail, there was more cars, grids are bigger, so the leaders have to negotiate slower vehicles.
Sectors 1 and 3 are 1.5 seconds off the pace. Sector 2 is 1.3 seconds off the pace.
Try and get a few laps in quick. Hanging onto this wheel for grim death, but it's nice to have grip, unlike the Formula E V. That's because I can't hear myself. Healing toe all the way. My rig's getting shaken about all over the place, I have to say. A faster lap now.
2 to go. Keep it together. We'll be on the podium.
Oh.
Okay, Dean. There's a faster class car approaching.
Okay. Again. So it would be quite good to go and watch it in real life. And it's on this weekend. Those cars have got so much more grip than me. It's probably the tyres, to be honest.
Faster class cars are catching you up.
him again. Well, can't be that severe.
Keep it together, we'll be on the podium.
The driver of yesteryear who drove his car back to the pits after a collision, Gilles Villeneuve. Although having said that,
that's the cars behind, they're racing for position.
Fernando Alonso did that in Baku last year and got onto the podium.
Ron Castle is getting closer, the gap's come down to 1.1 seconds.
Definitely don't handle now. But we're going to try and finish. Yeah, so even modern day Formula 1 drivers make a difference. But Fernando Alonso is a rare breed, I have to say. This car does not want to steer. He's going quicker than me without a wheel on. Maybe that's what I need, my wheel to come off. Someone else trying to push me off. Very aggressive. This should be it now.
We're on the podium with a good drive.
Thank you. I think that's the guy that was chasing me down. My wheels are definitely not straight. My steering wheel is probably about almost 90 degrees over to the right. Although you can't see that. So keep it in a straight line. So I hope you found that entertaining. It's certainly a experience with this force feedback. It's almost what it is. It's like playing a different game. It feels like a modern force feedback on perhaps something like, you know, Assetto Corsa. Assetto Corsa Competizione and R Factor 2. I'm running the Fanatic Steer So Elite, as you know, and it's made a, you know, it's completely changed my outlook on this game. I put many hours into this game on the console and hadn't bought it for PC until recently, and even in its sort of vanilla format, but very fine. It was very much like a console. It felt pretty much the same. A few improvements here and there. Oh, I've somehow stalled. Well, there we go. So, we'll put skip the call down lap, and there's the finishing results. Yeah, so in its standard form on a PC, I think it's better. The force feedback is better than the console, but you can see the similarities. That's what I'm trying to get at. And I played, you know, a few hours on it like that until I found out with this new INI file edit. It's just a copy and paste it in. You haven't got to do anything to it. There's a few settings in the game which I'm happy to let you know what they are on the actual game settings for the force feedback. Nothing spectacular. You're probably running near that anyway. But yeah, you can, if you want to know what they are, you can send me a message. It's not a problem. And I'll put a link below for this race department link. There are other places to get it from. It is free. It's only a zip file. It's very small, so hopefully you can try that and see what you think. Just going down the list a little bit here. There I am. My fastest lap time was 1:28. Second in my class by about a second. Relatively competitive, but those ones at the front was doing 1:15, so it's up to you know why I'm going to keep up with those. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed my historic BrandsHatch meeting with some historic F1 cars, and I hope to see you again very soon. Thanks for watching.